Hello, this is Frank J. Avella with Awards Daily. Today in our Oscar Legends series, we have one of the most versatile, fearless, and hypnotic actors working in film today, Javier Bardem. In his 3-decade-plus career, he's garnered 4 Academy Award nominations, including Best Lead Actor for Julian Schnabel's Before Night Falls and Alejandro Inarritu's Biutiful. He won the Best Supporting Actor Oscar for his chilling work in the Coen brothers' No Country for Old Men, and he's been nominated this year for his superlative turn as Lucie Arnaz in Aaron Sorkin's Being the Ricardos. Bienvenidos, Javier.
Gracias, Frank. Thank you very much for having me.
And congratulations on the 4th nomination, by the way, very richly deserved.
Thank you so much. And thank you for displaying all this beautiful background of some of my movies there. Wow, you did an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a real treat rewatching a lot of your films. I wanted to start with Being the Ricardos. It's an interesting balancing act, creating a character and paying homage to an iconic figure with Desi. How did you navigate that?
Well, I think the most important thing was the material. I mean, Aaron Sorkin's words, that is the most important. And when I first read the script, I felt everything that you would need as an actor to be inspired with was there on the page, on the dialogues, on the circumstances, on the scenes, on the conflicts. That's why he's a genius on what he does, Aaron Sorkin. So based on that and based on his will to, Aaron Sorkin's will to portray the people behind the iconic characters, everybody around us, I mean, everybody around me, Nicole, JK, Nina, everybody was trying to put our hands into what these people did and how they were, how they spoke, how they moved, knowing that that wasn't the aim, that never was the aim of the movie, to make a portrait of those two people, but rather grab the essence of what they meant for so many. And within that, you try your best, you watch all these videos, watch all the interviews, and I read the autobiography of Lucie Arnaz. And most important, what you try is to really understand the journey that Aaron Sorkin is inviting you to do as an actor.
Well, you know, there's so much of the magic of the film for me is the chemistry between you and Nicole, and not just the romantic bond, but the creative bond. Was that energy there from the start?
It was, and again, since we didn't have much time to prepare, we just met on a Thursday and we start shooting on a Monday. We had one Zoom meeting only prior to that. Both of us and everybody on the cast rely so much on the material, on the scenes, in our homework, that when we got together, we truly talked to each other. Nicole and I, we sat down. I remember sitting down at the lot of one of the lots of the studio, and say, we have to shoot, we have to do this, we have to relate each other through Lucie and Desi. There's no time to waste. There's no time. So we cannot share our fears or our doubts or insecurities. We have to really relate to each other from now on as Lucie and Desi, and everything has to be allowed in that sense, meaning physically, emotionally, psychologically. And the good thing is that both of us, we agree on that and we went with it. And I felt absolutely blessed by the fact of working with such an amazing actress, that it was so open to play ball with me, and she was bringing a huge amount of homework done. So I could easily see Lucie in her, because at that time I already knew quite a lot about both of them. I could see Lucie on her, and that helped me be Desi.
Lucie Arnaz has been very complimentary about your performance. After initially being apprehensive about your casting, I saw your wonderful chat with her online. That must be incredibly gratifying to you. That must be one of the true rewards.
I still remember the first day where she posted a video on her Instagram account, I think it was, after watching the movie, and she said that she liked the movie and she kind of approved our performances. for me, it meant everything. And I would say she's as an executive producer in the movie, but she was very clear and honest on what she liked and she didn't like, and she wouldn't ever support a movie about her parents if she was not really genuinely okay with it. And she was super open to discuss any matter as deep as we wish. And the fact that she really blessed our performances, as you said, meant a world for me and for Nicole, of course. We are portraying her parents, and for me, it's the first time in my career where I'm portraying a father of a person who's actually alive today. So God. For me, it was very moving to see that she felt okay with it. And that being said, of course, there are many lacks in the performance, in my performance. I mean, there are flaws and there are things that I couldn't reach or achieve, but it's okay. I guess what she saw is the trying, the really, how hard everybody in the cast, and of course behind the camera, work in order to honor them.
For me, one of the most powerful moments in the film is when you confront Lucie about Desi's familial feelings towards communism. That felt really personal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that felt real personal. That meant a lot to him, and also that meant a lot to me for different reasons. I am in the other extreme of the spectrum of the political ideas of Lucie Arnaz. I understand where he was coming from. I understand absolutely what he went through, and I have my own vision or views about it. But I mean, he openly supported Nixon, and that's something that I would never even imagine doing myself. But what I mean is, I understood what he meant by referring to the Bolsheviks burning his house down, and I mean, all his wealth was confiscated there. And I get where that rage came from, and that moment is important because it goes beyond the politics of it all, meaning it's about the cancellation culture as we know today. The thing is not about being communist or not being communist. That's the less important thing. The thing is about being pointed out.
Yeah, accused.
Pointed out as someone who did something very bad without that being proven, because somebody in the government, in the era, in the committee said so. And is the idea of a very organized, common organization creating a one powerful idea for everybody to believe, and if you don't fit in that idea, you will be punished. That's what the movie speaks about as well, and I think that's the important moment for him to try to make understand to her, like, beyond being communist or not, we are in a problem because now you are being accused for something that you were not, but people believed you were.
You know, I have to say this, it's one of my favorite films of the year, and that's the reason why it's one of my favorite films of the year, that theme. And I feel like some of the media that have been hard on it are being hard on it because these are exactly the media figures who are pushing for this, what is happening right now. I'm not going to get on a soapbox about it, but I wanted to say that. So thank you for what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk a little bit about your career now before I ask a few more Being the Ricardo questions. Your mother was an actor, and she's responsible for your first film role in El Pecado when you were 6. But that wasn't when you were bitten by the acting bug, was it? That came later, right?
It came later, yeah. There's always this moment where they ask you, when do you feel you wanted to be an actor? I don't know. I remember being at a zoo with my father. I was like 6 or 7, and I was kind of playing with the hat and a little knife he brought to me, and I was like playing with the sand, and I kind of saw myself from the outside as this safari adventure guy in the middle of the jungle. That's what I imagined I was, and I kind of liked that, the feeling of knowing that I was faking it, and how real it felt, even though I was faking it, and how enjoyable it was faking something to make it feel real. I guess that's the first moment. But yeah, later on, I started to work on as an extra in movies to keep on, to earn some money to keep on painting, because that's what I wanted to do. And I studied painting, bell arts, blah, blah, blah. But then little by little, I was getting 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, and all of a sudden I was playing a role. And that's where I stopped. I talked to my mom and said, okay, it looks like I'm going that direction. What should I do? And she told me, first of all, you have to be prepared. You have to prepare yourself. You have to study. You have to work on your tools, your voice, your body, your emotions. I mean, and second of all, the most important is to really respect your craft and everybody that belongs to the craft, because it's sacred for our family, since it was coming from a long generation of people.
How wonderful it was to have your own acting teacher right there in your home.
Absolutely. Of course, I was, since I was very little, and I could read, I was passing the words, the lines to my mom when she was doing theater, and I could see the whole process of her, like memorizing it, going through the lines, one after the other, pages and pages and pages, and then I will go to the theater and I will see her doing it and living it and being emotional with it and going through the sensations of those words. And I was like, wow, those lines were not even on her mind since like 4 weeks ago, and now she owns it. It was a beautiful process to be witness of.
Wow. Yeah, your first leading role was Hamon
Yeah.
with Penelope.
Yeah.
Good first experience?
Oh yeah, the best one. It was not an easy movie to make. It was our first movie, both of us, as good important roles to play. And if it wasn't for Bigas Luna, the director, and how much he protected us and how much care he took of us, I guess we would have moved to something else, because first experience is always very important, as you know. And in this case, he really made us feel like we belonged to the process and we were respected and taken into account, and we felt that we belong there, and that's why we want to keep on belonging to that.
I want to talk about Before Night Falls now,
Yeah.
because I rewatched it just a few nights ago, and I have to tell you, it is more powerful today than the first time I remember seeing it. Maybe it's because of the craziness going on in the world. And it's an important queer story too. Have you seen it recently?
Last time I saw it, I think it was in a film festival in Lyon, like 4 years ago.
Okay. I'm just astonished at the power that film has. It's staggering over 22 years later. I want to ask you, you don't seem to be the kind of actor who would be apprehensive about playing a gay person, but I'm curious, did anybody at the time try to talk you out of it?
Nothing, no, nothing. Actually, my first important role before jumping into Hamon with the same director, Bigas Luna, I was playing a male prostitute, very expert on sadomasochism. So I don't have any problems playing anything. And not only that, but the owner of the brothel was played by my mother.
Oh my God! Oh, great.
Very, very strong experience, very fun one. What a debut. No, I don't have any problem playing anything. I mean, that's the joy of it. I mean, it's a gift that we had the chance to play different mindset, different views, different empathies. I mean, that opens your thinking about the rest of us. I mean, we are not one piece of a people. I mean, I have inside of me many sides, and some of them I don't know. Some of them I am forced to be friends with or more used to because I play with those. But if there's one thing that I really appreciate about what we do is that it really helps us to be more, to feel more empathy towards our fellow human beings and understand many different points of view.
Yeah. Well, and that was your first Oscar nomination. You were the first Spanish actor nominated. I'm curious, what was that first time like, and how has it changed now, 22 years later?
It was something absolutely surreal, something that I wanna never expect. I remember when I was shooting the movie, that some people were telling me, "You're gonna be nominated," and I say, "Yeah, right. No, that's not gonna happen." Oscars is that show that you see at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning in Spain, watching somebody else winning it. It's not that you are part of it. Still, when I did Before Night Falls, Fernando Trueba and José Luis García and Pedro Almodóvar, I think, already won some Oscars, which made it even more exciting to watch. But when it happened, it was absolutely out of nowhere. I mean, I was super surprised. And I remember the party that I took at home. I mean, it was when I realized 200 people were in my flat. And I'm always telling the story that the elevator, I was living on the 7th floor and I had a little terrace. The elevator broke because of many people coming up and down. And we had to call the fireman. And we asked the fireman to bring ice because we ran out of ice. So the fireman brought ice and some drinks, some beers on their ladder to our terrace. That's how important that nomination was for so many people. Even the firemen were like, "Yeah, we'll bring it."
That's tremendous. Yeah, it's interesting. You played two very different priests in two very different films. Milos Forman's Goya's Ghosts, which I think is an absolutely extraordinary film, and Terrence Malick's To the Wonder. Both these priests are fascinating. They had to deal with temptation. Did you bring your own history with Catholicism to these performances?
Not really. I mean, I was raised in the Catholic culture. I was an altar boy when I was little because my grandmother was my grandmother from my parents' side, father's side, she was very Catholic and she really wanted me to be an altar boy. I never get very much intrigued about that. I felt like it was not my place. But I've been raised in a very Catholic culture, education, country, and I've seen many things. I know of many things, and many people who have suffered many abuse about the Catholic Church, as we know, and some of those cases are starting to pop up now in Spain, and it goes from the hundreds. And of course, I've seen also many people who are spreading the word of the Catholic Church in villages all around the world and really helping, humanly speaking, to very poor communities. I mean, doing the best. And one of my friends, people that I admire so much, is a priest in Madrid that really is helping lots of people that come out of jail or that are starving, immigrants. He really is acting the word of God. And so I've seen many colors, and I guess what I brought into my performances back then is what it was supposed to bring, because it was what it was on the page, but with lots of respect. I don't want to put my own belief system into a character, at least it's needed. And in those cases, it was not needed.
With The Sea Inside, it was fascinating to me. It's a beautiful film. Important issue movie that never feels like an issue movie. It felt like a cinematic poem.
Yes, yeah, it's one of those movies that speak about death and celebrates life in the journey, and that's why it affected so many people in a beautiful way. It moved, and it moves lots of people today. Because it really expressed and grabbed the essence of the person, Ramon San Pedro, the real person, because he was very, there's a train passing by, as you can hear. Thank God hopefully will not run me over. But he was a very vital person. He was a person who loved life and was supporting and pushing people to live their lives. But at the same time was saying, but me, I choose to not to, and you should respect that will as well. And he changed the panorama of the euthanasia in Spain for sure. He sacrificed his life for it.
In 2007, you terrified moviegoers with No Country for Old Men. What's so interesting? I just watched it again. We never get his backstory. It may be in the book, but we never get it. And I find that so fascinating and so exhilarating, actually. How did you embody playing such villainy? I'm curious.
I guess that was a challenge to really undo, to really deconstruct the backstory, since there is any, and to be able to, I don't know, as much as I could, to embody a symbolism, embody an idea, in this case, violence itself, rather than creating a human being with a desire, or with a strong will, or with an aim, or with an objective, with a goal. No, he didn't have any of those things. He just worked by the numbers. He's like, okay, there's a coin, and you're gonna flip it, and if it's tails or heads, you're gonna choose one, and that's your fate. Meaning, I am your fate, and unless this coin says the opposite, your fate is gonna be a bad one, because I am violence, and that's why I'm unstoppable. I'm undestroyable. I am violence, and when it comes out, when it appears, it destroys everything around it, and it goes away, and leaving a trail of death and desperation. And we see that in the world, unfortunately, and I think the movie did a great job in portraying that. It's not only a movie, it's not only a great Western with some people stealing money and a deal gone wrong. It's a movie about important issues being exposed in an amazing manner.
That Academy Award, so richly deserved. Did it change your career?
Well, I think, yeah, of course, it changed in the sense that my name then will be discussed in other projects. But I guess I took a step back and I went to do Biutiful in Spanish, in Spain.
Yeah.
And I guess they were offering me more villains. You know how this is. And I was like, I don't know, I'm not doing that. But it really helped me to be, professionally taking into account. You say into account or into count?
Into account. Into account,
thank you. Which is a great thing.
Yeah. Oh, and while we're on the subjects of villains, might as well, just 5 years later, you created another memorable, unique cinematic villain in the Bond universe in Sam Mendes' Skyfall. Can you tell me about how much input did you have into molding Silva?
I had some, I mean, not a lot, because the script was beautiful written, but Sam Mendes sat down with me in England and we discussed, I remember in a great meeting we had, it was fun, and he was bringing some drawings and some images about the sexuality and about the way he would make Mr. Bond uncomfortable, because everything was done, everything has been done, but we were thinking, well, what would be the thing that will make Mr. Bond feel a little bit out of his control? And so, well, we have to create this personality that he doesn't, or he cannot read very well. He doesn't know where he's coming or what he is wanting or looking for. And we create a little bit of that with the looks and with the way of speaking and some part of the dialogues,
There was also this delicious homoerotic tension between you and Daniel Craig. And I also love that the character's sexual orientation, it was never defined because it didn't need to be.
Absolutely, and he lives in an island. When you live on an island, I mean, you have to grab what you can grab.
Yep.
That's his sexual orientation. It's like whatever it is in the island.
In 2008, you played Juan Antonio in Vicky Cristina Barcelona, opposite Penelope again. And there was this great chemistry between the two of you. And I wanted to ask you, working together after rewatching Loving Pablo, Vicky Cristina, Everybody Knows, you two are either usually romantic or you're at odds with one another. And Penelope said you work in similar ways. Can you talk about, is it easy to go back to being Javier and Penelope once they say cut?
Yeah, that's what we do. And back in the day, it was so challenging for both of us, because it was both in Spanish and in English with Woody Allen, which we admire so much, and also one take kind of thing. And those scenes were shot on one take, and for us, we can be very much pain in the ass. We want more takes, and we were running towards him saying, you have to give us one more chance. We don't speak the language. I mean, and he was like, no. Sometimes he would, but we were very obsessed with the fact of not having a second chance. And he was fine with that. So we didn't have any idea of what we were doing because there was no rehearsals. There was no much talk about the characters. As you know, Woody Allen doesn't want to do that. I mean, it's absolutely fine with that. And so it was like a theater, but without being rehearsed first. So everything that will happen in that moment. And we kind of got together and rehearsed on our own. Like, okay, how do we create this relationship? And it was fun. It was great, but also it was very fast. It was a 5-week shoot. Oh my God. And I guess Woody Allen was kind of very scared of our passion, meaning as Spaniards, because we are playing these very passionate people, and we were very passionate about defending our job, like, give us another take. So he kind of pulled back, like, those people are crazy.
Well, it's a wonderful film, and terrific performances.
Yeah.
And I want to applaud you for not condemning Woody because Twitter and media demand it. You look at the facts. You're a brave man, Javier.
Well, I'm only saying that things have to be proven. And so far, when I worked with him in 2007, it was exactly the same time that it is today. And we have to be careful about condemning people without being legally proven. I mean, whether it's this person or another person, we have to be aware of that, because otherwise everybody can be a judge.
And lumping them all together in one category, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Biutiful. Inarritu's Biutiful, your third Oscar nomination. Again, a beautiful performance. Working with Inarritu, this was such a character-driven film, which I think it was his first major character-driven film.
Yes.
Again, extraordinarily moving. It couldn't have been an easy shoot.
No, it was a long shoot. It was like 6 months, 6 days per week. And the character was very heavy, as you see. It was a mountain. He told me the first day we got together, we are going to climb this mountain together, and it's gonna be tough. Because as you said, it was the first time he was putting all the weight into one character. Before that, he was telling different stories. And we went through it, and it was a difficult emotional state to hold onto for 6 months. But I'm very proud of that movie for what it meant, for what it is, for how it came out. And I would say Alejandro is one of the best actors, directors that I've ever, and I will always work with. He really understands the process, and the material you're dealing with is very intense. So the journey is intense. But also for me, it meant so much to go back to my own language after the Oscar and to do a character that is so much about love and empathy and his children. It was a very emotional journey for many reasons, but it's a movie that I'm very proud of.
I'm going to jump to The Good Boss right now before I ask you some brief questions about films that you probably don't get asked a lot about. Spain's Oscar entry. Wow, what a character. He's so charming. He's so slimy at the same time. And it won, you won the Goya, and it was nominated for like 2,000. I know, 20. Was it fun inhabiting a cad like Blanco?
I loved it. I love Fernando. It's my third movie with him. He's one of my best friends. He's one of the best screenwriters in Spain and directors. So he happens to be my friend. So when we work together, it's like a joy. We understand so much, so well. We don't need much explanation. And I feel very much protected with him, because one, that's very important in movie making, since I do movies mostly. You do your job, but then who's going to put it together? Who's going to choose what you did? And sometimes you feel that the person or the director behind the camera is not seeing or is not having a fine eye on what you're doing, because of course you have your own beliefs. That's why you bring what you bring. and then you start to pull back and be more secure or safe in your performance, and that's what kills it.
Yeah.
With Fernando, for example, or even with Aaron Sorkin, because I know he sees, you go and try different things and give them as many options as you can, because you know he's going to pick up the jewels. And that was the case. And I had a great fun, and we were very scared because it was the first Spanish movie to be shot during the pandemic. So the stakes were high, and we were very scared and insecure of how that was going to be. Thank God there was no one case, and we did it.
Well, I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions about a few films, and then I have a few last minute Being the Ricardos. Eat, Pray, Love with Julia Roberts. Your thoughts?
My thoughts, it was kind of a spa for me. After Biutiful, 2009, I finished Biutiful, and then in that summer, I go to Bali to make a romantic comedy with Julia Roberts. I mean, what's wrong with that? It was like a spa. I loved it. I was so much in need for doing something like this. And I had the chance to work with one of the best actresses ever, Julia Roberts, which happens to be a beautiful colleague, beautiful woman, and what an actress. I mean, the scene on the beach that we had, this kind of argue, how brilliant she was in every take, doing every take different from the other. It was beautiful.
Reiner in The Counselor.
Counselor is like an experiment. When I show really the way I would like to speak, and then he was like buying everything, because he knew that we were all doing that movie because we want to try different things. We want to explore those amazing scenes, those dialogues, and those characters. And he was brave enough to really encourage us all to take our own path and go with it until the very end. I love it.
Aronofsky's Mindfuck, Mother.
That is a movie. That is an intense movie as well. Darren is another genius. He really works super hard, and he's super precise. And he likes to go on and on and on and on and on, over and over and over. And you have to be prepared. My role was demanding, but nothing compared to Jennifer's Lawrence role, because she was like, she had to really go through every kind of emotional journey you could imagine. And I was absolutely blown away by her quality as an actress. She will jump into it like fast, and even better, she will step out of it even faster. And I go, how do you do that?
Dune, your brief but powerful role, and hopefully there'll be a second one, right?
Yes, there's a second one happening this year, hopefully. I haven't read anything I would like to share with you, but I don't know it myself, but I know that it's going to happen, hopefully. I mean, the world is the way it is today, so hopefully it will happen. But Dune, Denis Villeneuve asked me to sit down with him. He told me he had a small role in the movie, and if there is such a thing as a sequel, I will do a bigger role. I said, I don't care. I will go there and say a line for you, because I would love to work with you. And I wasn't wrong. I had a great time. It was only 2 weeks of shooting. And I'm in one of those movies that when you see on a movie theater, you go like, wow, what a gift to belong to such a great filmmaking, no?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm very excited to see what's coming for the second one.
Oh God, me too. And Ashgar Farhadi's Everybody Knows. And I have to tell you, your reaction to Penelope telling you that was your daughter.
Right.
No words. So powerful.
Thank you so much. That was the moment. Asghar is a theater director, and he loves to perform. He likes the process. He likes the rehearsals. And again, I felt absolutely taken by the words and his work. I mean, Separation, a hero now. All the movies he's done. The Salesman. But the most amazing thing is that he was dealing with the foreign language he couldn't understand, but he got every detail in our performances because he felt it. And he will come back to you and say, he knew the lines because he brought the lines and he will have the translation, but he knew exactly when we were faking it and when we were real. And he got it, all of them.
Amazing. Almodovar, you made 2 films with him, one a very brief role and then Live Flesh. Did you enjoy working with him, first of all? And When will the three of you work together?
Oh, well, I don't know. Hopefully soon. I don't know. It depends on him. I mean, the relationship that Penelope has with him is amazing. It's like Sika and Sofia Loren kind of thing. I mean, well, when you work with Almodovar, you know that you're working with an iconic historical figure of the film industry, not only in Spain, but all around the world, the way he is perceived and welcome and applauded and celebrated. So it is an honor. It's truly an honor. And working with him the first time, High Heels, it was a couple of lines. I was so nervous, but I made it through. Live Flesh, it was a challenging role for the physicality of it, but I have fun. I have fun with finding my body into it, since it was so against my own body, what I have to portray. And it's one of those things that gives you the opportunity to know real people, real basketball players on wheelchairs. And I have amazing time spending time with them, learning from them, and also playing basketball with them on the league. They stick me in one, and I could play a couple of, I could do a couple of shots. No, that was fun.
Javier, it's been such a pleasure. My final question for you, this Being the Ricardos nomination, certainly it's recognition, but what else does it mean for you at this point in your career?
Well, it means, I think I'm 53 years old, and I would say it's the same surprise than when I was 30 and I got the first nomination, because you never see this thing coming. You never expect this thing. And when it happens, it's such a great honor, and it's a gift. I take it for what it is, meaning I really appreciate and I'm thankful for people that consider my job recognizable for whatever reason. But also I see it as an accident, as a beautiful accident that doesn't have to do with the quality of what you do, meaning, thank you. Apparently they like what I did, great, but that doesn't mean that I'm better than anybody else that is not on that list. So that takes a lot of pressure, because I'm going to enjoy it in a way that maybe before I didn't enjoy it, because I felt too anxious, not to win, but to be there. Because now I know what it is, I take it for what it is, and especially this year, with my wife nominated the same year, it makes it very, very special and very unique. And both of us are very grateful for that.
Well, I wish you all the best. Keep giving us these fantastic performances. Keep making these tremendous choices.
Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.